Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boom Bar right here on your Boom Radio NG. And I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. Today promises to be a very interesting one. As usual, it's a brand new week and we're going to give you everything from sports, politics, entertainment, and everything else in between. Yes. And today we're going to be starting from the federal government. Looks like the federal government is not taking this matter of Third Mainland Bridge easy at all. There is a new CCTV conversation around it. There's a whole control center for that now. We're going to be breaking those things down little by little. Also, the federal government, the president is in Abu Dhabi as we speak. He was in Europe. I think he's now officially in Abu Dhabi. INEC has some questions to answer by some people. There's also some medical negligence issues when it comes to the death of one of Chimamanda Adichie's children. That conversation has been going on for a few days now. We're going to be talking about it. And of course, there's been updates on AFCON. AFCON is still going on. It's winding down, but it is still going on, whether you like it or not. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show with us today. Yeah, my name is Dolupo, and with me in the studio is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the bar. Thank God it's Monday. It's a marvelous Monday.
Okay, we're done.
It will never be done, actually.
Anyway, President Bola Tinubu has officially arrived in Abu Dhabi for the annual Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week Summit. The president, I think he moved from France, if I'm correct. I think he left after the festivities in Lagos, and now from there he moved to Europe, and now is officially in Abu Dhabi.
He moved from festivities in Lagos to festivities in Abu Dhabi. Okay? Happy festivization of your tenure, sir.
What? Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. But one of the very interesting things that have been popping up or the news that have popped up today is that the federal government today inaugurated a 40 billion naira CCTV control center for the Third Mainland Bridge.
The first thing I saw about this today is how someone screamed on. You know how you are reading something on a screen, but it's like someone screaming. Someone screamed, "Oh, 40 billion for control center." So I'm like, okay, really and truly, maybe we're at a point where government needs to be more transparent. It's not a maybe step. I think we're at a point where government needs to, like doing breakdowns of their projects to let them know how they arrived at whatever cost that they are claiming that projects are. Because it's almost as if it takes the shine off the project itself. Like, instead of us looking at the fact that we never had that monetary center in place, that bridge has been there for decades. And there are several roads like that too in Nigeria that would require the same thing eventually. I hope we realize that. But the cost seems to be staggering, at least according to that particular post that I had seen on Facebook. It was on Facebook that I saw it. But beyond that, the importance of that project cannot be overstated. The bridge is the second longest bridge in Africa. It used to be the longest before the Egyptians also built another longer one. And it's actually one of the busiest bridges in Nigeria, especially during peak period, in the mornings and evenings you get. So, again, we've had incidents there where people have even tried to take their own lives, maybe jump into the lagoon. We've had times where there have been multiple crashes on that bridge, So a monitoring center would go a long way, from security, to other aspects of that bridge, even traffic management and all of that.
Yeah, so according to them, from the Federal Ministry of Works, there are quite a number of things that are involved They said that there's live footage from the control center to enforce speed limits. So we know that there's cameras back and forth, but it's not just that. So according to them, there's a surveillance boat. There are 2 Hilux vehicles for speedy rapid response for that. But also it said out of this 40 billion, there are 240 solar panels that are used to
power the project.
There are 10 inverters. There's a 300 kVA transformer. There's a standby generator. The multiple monitoring screens, full air conditioning for the control center. They said the contract covers 1,268 solar powered street lights and a borehole facility for that.
Interesting. So at least that's a breakdown of the facilities that they've put in place. Again, so for the people who feel that these prices or this cost is exaggerated, maybe you can do an analysis based on the things that she had reeled out now and look at the comparative cost and look at it and say, okay, well, this is too much or this is too low, you know. And the bottom line, though, for me is that they said something about enforcement, you know. And there's a funny thing that happens with traffic laws in Nigeria, or even laws in general. If you know Lagos very well, Ikorodu Road is arguably the busiest road in Lagos, arguably. And it's a federal road that traverses at least 1 or 2 local governments, you get, if not 3. But there's a particular local government that actually cashes out by arresting people who cross the expressway on the corridor road. Like if you run to their own side of the road, you get arrested, you are taken to the local government and you pay a fine. You get. Now this is a federal road in a state, but the local government that is collecting fine of people crossing the road. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's one thing I wanted to put. The other thing I wanted to point out is that rather than have people prevent people and because they put barriers in place and these animals go and destroy them.
Yeah.
Do you know how much the state government spends almost every 5 or 6 years to install metal barriers, and maximum 6 months after those things have disappeared? You get. I had witnessed one at Jibo where all these buses operate, all these interstate buses, and I actually saw about 5-6 guys pushing this thing down. That day I was driving past, they were actually forcing it down in broad daylight. Do you understand? So I'm trying to highlight a lot of heroes here, but at the end of the day, what I'm also pointing out is that we have laws, but enforcement, you get.
Yeah.
So one of the things that government has done is that if you go past the speed limit, digitally now they can send you a bill to, and fine you and say all that, you get. But just like they do in Formula 1, when there's a crash or something, they put out the safety car, you get, and nobody overtakes that safety car. At some point in time, we might be thinking of such things, because when you're on that Third Mainland Bridge, a lot of people, probably they never read the limit before. I'm sure some people are doing 200 on that bridge. I am very, very sure. And you know what that means. You're talking about potential road crash and lives being lost, properties and limbs being disjointed and disconnected, from the bodies and all of that. At the end of the day, I like that word enforcement. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but I want them to do it also. And that way, we can actually save more lives and property.
Yeah, I think one of the easiest things is that they should ramp up the fines. Yeah, the more people pay, the more you start having sense.
And maybe they shouldn't wait for you to renew your paper before they make them pay. Like, everybody's phones are connected to their, licenses and all sorts of things now. So whoever is registered, the car is registered, should get the alert immediately that you're owing the government.
Oh, yeah, you get those alerts actually almost immediately. I know someone that actually got the alert. The only thing is that if you don't pay immediately, it will be added to your bill when you...
Yeah, someone that I know said he didn't get any alert until when he went to pay. So again, there has to be some form of reconciliation of data. Maybe the information on his vehicle license is different from, his current numbers and situation and all of that. But regardless, enforcement is very, very
enforcement
important.
is definitely key, because that's.
But I hope they don't stop on Third Mainland. They need to do this for other major roads.
And in fact, with the news that they put out, they said that there is an expansion going on, and I'm wondering what part of Third Mainland is getting expanded.
An expansion of Third Mainland?
Yes, because they said this is the first phase of the inauguration they're doing. And I'm like,
and what they're talking about is the control center now. It can't be the bridge.
Okay. Makes sense.
There's a contention that the cost of there's some reconstruction talk that cropped up sometime last year.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how the cost of putting some of the defects on that bridge might be the cost of building an entirely new one. So that can't be what they're talking about.
Okay, so also now moving on to education, the federal government and ASUU are set to unveil a new agreement January 14th. So they're saying that on January 14th, they will finalize a new agreement that is supposed to improve the quality of the university education system and ensure stability.
For the first time in Nigeria, in 2 years' time, if everything goes well, we would have the first batch of undergraduates become graduates without any disruption to their education in tertiary institutions. It will be the first time maybe ever, or the first time since the 70s or thereabout, you get. But hardly would you find any Nigerian within the ages of 20-something to 60-something that did not experience the strikes by the lecturers and the non-academic staff also. Now, every time there is some form of dispute, the lecturers always point out an agreement that they had with the government. And government and governance is a continuum. So a regime will not say, well, we were not the ones that agree that with you, you get. So, but the government agreed. But what they've done now is to harmonize all of that and now even go beyond money to look at the entire tertiary
the whole system, because let's be honest,
and say, as stakeholders, we know where the problem lies. That's from the angle of the lecturers and from government. So now they're going to come up with an harmonized document. What that means is that it's now beholden on both parties to ensure that things are done according to that agreement.
ASUU can also now just arbitrarily say they want to go on strike.
So it's looking good, and I hope that the lecturers get improved pay packages. I hope that the schools get more funding for research. That's one angle that we actually need to focus a lot more on. And also, the schools realize that their IGL ability is not something that they should play down. It's actually more of that would save our education, not all these government interventions. Because if you run your school properly, you probably will be sending money back to the federal government at the end of the year.
At the end of the year, yeah. So,
if there's no corruption,
we will be here waiting for 14th to know what a breakdown, and that's just
on Wednesday,
a couple of days time. So we'll be seeing what will be going on from there. Just wanted to put that out there. Now moving on from that, INEC is on the hook as Serap has filed a lawsuit against INEC over alleged failure to account for missing or diverted 55.9 billion naira earmarked for election materials for the 2019 general elections.
My God, it is a fantastic thing that Serap is doing on this particular matter. I know at times we actually poke fun at them that they can sue for Nigeria. Like, they literally can sue for every and anything, Serap. But you see, on this particular one, I want to commend them because this is based off a report by the, I think it's the Auditor General's report. Mm-hmm. And what they're talking about now are too many gray areas. Like, for instance, they talked about acquiring Land Cruisers as at the time the award was issued. They're saying they acquired 4 Land Cruisers at 70-something million. The market value as at that time was 50 million. So if you acquire 4, it should be 200 million, not 270-something or whatever million naira for 4 Land Cruisers. That alone got me thinking, like, is that the only area where INEC has allegedly, been corrupt? And there is no way as an umpire, even if what they're talking about does not have to do with election malpractices. The fact that your body that is supposed to monitor elections and organize elections is culpable for some form of corruption means that
it
also
puts everything that you're doing into question. Yes,
so
it does.
And there are other aspects of that case that Serap is bringing that I'm actually looking at, and I'm hoping this is not true. Contract of monies that were paid and not retired, even cash of over 600 million that had been given to staff for different operations, and nobody's retiring their accounts. There's no proof of certain things that were supposed to have been supplied to INEC. All these allegations are very, very grievous.
Yeah.
And even before the court case, it's something that the current INEC management
they also
should
need to
speak
look into. Yeah, they definitely.
Even if you are not the one in charge, then it's still your body. So and you are now in charge.
It's even a way to show your own transparency and then trace those things up. Yeah, I think that it's not a bad idea to ask those questions. Let's ask if it can be traced. All well and good. If not, then we know where we're moving on from that. Now, moving on from that quickly. Moving on to health matters, resident doctors are said to have suspended their nationwide strike. And talking about health,
Sorry, can I quickly say something about the resident doctors? I know that we're hard up for time. So, if the government can sit down with the lecturers and come up with a joint plan that would, speak to the end of strikes in Nigeria's tertiary education completely for the rest of time.
Education. This is not education.
I'm trying to make a point.
Okay.
If government can do that with Nigeria's educational sector, they should do it with the health too. Sit down with the doctors. They are the practitioners. They are the ones that knows where all the problems are, and they're the ones that actually, they're talking about how almost 3,000 members. There's a particular increment of 20 or 30% that they've also have gotten. On almost 3,000 members, I'm talking doctors have not gotten it. You get, it shouldn't be happening. So it's the same format that they've done with the education sector that I think they should do with the health. Sit down with all the stakeholders, the Association of Resident Doctors, the consultants, all of them, they all have associations, the nurses, all of them. Sit down and map out this thing so that we actually stop hearing all this we have to go on strike story, because this is what they want, this is what you can afford, and this is what we need. So if we can actually work this out in education, in health, in sports, you can just think of how rancor-free or almost rancor-free, Nigeria's labor force will be. And what that means is more output. Greater output means improvement in the lives of everybody generally.
Okay, now let's move on from that quickly. I'm still talking about health, and now this is a conversation that has now been going on for days, and it's about some alleged negligence. There's been conversation after Chimamanda had come out to say, after the death of one of her twins, and now talked about the negligence that a particular hospital in Lagos actually did, and that led to the death of their son. In fact, they're asking for the medical records from the hospital to review those things to see what happened. There was talks of how he was given a wrong dose of I think some level of anesthesia that I think made the child go into coma and then pass away.
Again, I was watching a family member of Chimamanda Adichie, who actually happens to also be a medical practitioner, someone who actually knows the business. And one of the things they also pointed out, minus the anesthesia matter, is how the baby had been transferred from one private hospital to another. Now, in the previous hospital that the child was at, it was on oxygen and it was monitored round the clock. Then you transfer him to the so-called better facility that can handle the particular thing that they wanted to do, because the child had been cleared to be airlifted to Johns Hopkins in America for treatment, for improved care. So, and I agree with the woman that if a person, any human, is passed fit to travel, that means the person is stabilized. Because no doctor will say, oh, take someone that they feel cannot
Not even
withstand the rigors of traveling, and it's a child, a little child. Now, they're saying that when they were moved to this other facility, this other private hospital, that the child was not placed on oxygen again and was not fully monitored round the clock. And these are the things that they're talking about negligence. They're talking about negligence that, like, borderline criminal negligence. I'm the one that's adding that criminal to the matter because, one, these hospitals charge a arm and a leg. They're extremely expensive, and you assume that they're not just expensive because they are located in this expensive neighborhood. They are expensive because of the quality of their service. You get it from the equipment that they have to the personnel that man this equipment. Because why is it that a lot of people might not agree with what I'm about to say? Why is it that as much as we complain about government-owned hospitals, they tend to be better than private hospitals, the very expensive ones, as against the government hospitals? They tend to be better, especially the teaching hospitals. Like, there's a way those hospitals are structured and they are staffed that you, if you understand how medicine works in Nigeria, you would rather, with all your money, you would rather go to a Luth or a UCH or a UBTH or any of the government-owned hospitals. I'm telling you, and I have several, even personal experiences to drive this.
Now that you're saying, and now that I remember, like, a few conversations or a few things that I've thought about when it comes to medical negligence in Nigeria has actually been involved with mostly private hospitals. Like, I literally know someone that died all because of the amount of anesthesia the person was given, and all that kind of thing. I even have a personal experience myself, like, literally would have died because I was just getting pumped with drugs when there was completely something else, and it's a private hospital. And I think that these are the things that, like, the Federal Ministry of Health needs to look into. And like you said, the worst part is that they charge an arm and a leg. Maybe not just looking at the kind of care they give. Maybe it's really, really time that the Ministry of Health needs to upgrade, needs to look into our teaching hospitals. I believe that if those hospitals are really up to par, most of them, and the stress is not so much, and I think it starts from the primary healthcare centers, then we don't have as many people in the teaching hospitals and in the general hospitals. Then there's a lot that if it can be decongested and it can be brought up to par, I think that a lot of private hospitals will shut down.
That's it now. Shut down or ship up. If you do not ship up, you ship out. You ship out. I totally believe this. And again, we are not approaching it the right way. We are looking at it, with kid gloves. We're handling it with kid gloves. This is a national pandemic. I'm talking about how, again, I'm going to repeat. It's like, I know that expensive does not necessarily mean good all the time, but at least it should include value.
If you're going to give me,
there should be value.
If it's expensive, then at least give people value for their money.
Yeah, there's a way you walk into a barber shop, for instance, and even from the reception area, from the front desk, you're like, this place it's going to cost me so much to cut my hair in this place. And there's a way you just see another barber by the roadside, and the guy is just there under the bridge. The amount that guy with the AC and all that paraphernalia and all the lights that they have now, it can't be the same.
You can't.
So you transfer that to the same hospitals. Like, someone walks into an hospital that is somewhere in VI or in Lekki or Ikoyi or Ikeja, GRA or Bagada or whatever, or any of the eyebrow areas in Lagos or in Nigeria by extension. One, the cost of that facility alone shows that it's going to be an expensive venture. It's not as if that's the only place you can get that procedure done or get that treatment, but you walked there or you were taken there maybe by choice, you get, except the emergencies, but by choice. That's one. Two, you assume that they have the best personnel. for instance, some hospitals would have to take out samples for lab testing all the time because they don't even have an in-house lab.
They don't.
Some hospitals own their own labs, but they do not have the personnel. So some of those guys will come maybe once a day or every other day to check out the tests that they've accumulated. Those type of hospitals now, you cannot get the result you want if it's instantaneous. Do you understand? So, but you assume that at these eyebrow places, they have a lab that is open 24 hours around the clock. The pharmacy is open 24 hours around the clock. You know, there's a consultant, you know, round the clock. Everything is round the clock. Really, that's what people are paying for. They are paying so much money for. And that's why a lot of people will go to these expensive places because they assume that everything is in place for them.
Yeah, that's my own. You can't even charge people so much and they don't get a value for their money. It doesn't make any sense.
No parent, in fact, no human being should experience what Chimamanda Adichie is experiencing with her husband. It's actually so unfair that the child had been approved to travel. If you are past fit to travel, trust me, that means you are good to go. Then suddenly you now hear something different. And you know how expensive these things are. That's why I just keep harping on the cost, because it is just so wicked. Because maybe, just maybe, the general hospital could have actually done better than the so-called private hospital. Maybe. Because those ones too, they have their own wala. I won't lie. I will not lie.
Private hospitals in Nigeria personally scare me. They actually do scare me. I will not even lie.
For those that know, there are some procedures that you will never allow a private hospital to handle.
Yeah.
In this country.
Do they even have the personnel? Let's even start from that.
I remember when my friend had his wife have myomectomy. She had multiple uterine fibroids, and they went to the very best of the very best in their area, you know, because the guy is very rich. Of course, the result did not come out well. You get, and right about that time, someone else was going through the same thing and went to a government hospital, and all the people that I know that went to that government came out very well. Good results, very good results, you know.
Anyway, Lord, God help us, but the Ministry of Health needs a lot of work. That whole sector needs a lot of work.
Plenty work. Dolupo, like a task force needs to be set up.
Because even if we say, oh, we're talking about doctors and nurses moving out of Nigeria, but it also shows how much you care about the people. What kind of care do you give people? Because there's also the conversation of even government hospitals. A lot of people will say, oh, because they have so many patients as well, there could also be the conversation of negligence where they just overlook.
Yeah, because at times they are also overwhelmed.
Jonas, so there's so many things involved.
For instance, you know, there should be a limit to the number of patients a doctor should see in a day. But you know, in the public space, in the public hospitals, we're not going to lie, a lot of them, it's as if it's a triage. Every day is as if, there's one massive accident that happened somewhere because everybody is going there. And again, that's why the system needs to be overhauled. Some of the people who are going to these tertiary medical facilities should actually be going to the primary healthcare centers where they get referred.
Yeah.
Where they get referred. That's another big problem.
That's another
one.
But
again, can't they have the reverse?
But I also feel that
Dolupo, can they not have the reverse referrals? Like you assess and refer to the that,
I also feel that
you come here, but this is where you should be.
Primary healthcare centers are doing really well. I don't think a lot of people would also go.
Even if they exist, if for instance, we have 774 local governments. Primary healthcare, if every ward, for instance, had a PHC, we won't be where we are today.
Yeah, so I don't think a lot of people too want to queue and all that. It's also based on the fact that how many are really available at the end of the day. But really and truly, the Nigerian healthcare system definitely needs a major overhaul. Also, even Nigerians as a people, let's also talk about the fact that we put ourselves in some unnecessary risks. One of the things is the way we drive. So there are a lot of unnecessary accidents that happen
Very avoidable.
That could be avoidable. Take, for example, this morning, the tanker that fell at Ojuelegba.
Again.
And people were carrying bowls and all to scoop diesel. Imagine
they must have free diesel.
Something happens and it just goes boom.
Exactly.
That's a lot of casualties that already choked up hospitals.
That's another triage for you.
Have to deal with
all the hospitals around there.
Those things happen every time.
Yeah.
So like that, as much as yes, our health issues, even if it's just for the fact that you know that health is not the healthcare system is not as effective as you want it to be, is the more reason why you should take care of yourself.
The more reason. In fact, that's even more of the solution. That
take care of yourself.
You being more careful.
Yeah.
Helps generally, we
don't have as many
from lifestyle changes and all of that.
Exactly. It's such a very, very sad, very, very sad situation.
But quickly, what about alternative medical care?
The problem with alternative medical care, especially in Nigeria, again, is the lack of what's the word? Now I'm trying to look for the word.
Standards,
yes. Is the lack of standards. Do some of those things work? Oh, yes. We know our forefathers, even as far back as some of our grandparents, and it worked for some people. But in the same vein, some of these things were dangerous and it killed some people. You hear of, lately I'd realized, there's a lot of conversation here. Older women, grandparents, where you hear, this person gave birth to 10, 15 children and only 2 survived.
You get to hear about the abiku thing.
Yes, you hear the abiku, but lately you begin to realize that
medically,
most of those children were just sickle cell, and they were not getting proper health care. Do you understand? There's so many. Let me give you a very practical example. So my grandmom is asthmatic, and most of her siblings are as well. And she said that when they were really young, they didn't really know that it was asthma, but she knew that they knew that there was something wrong with them. So what their mom would do then was peel the back of limes and lemon, dry them out, then crush them, and then
set fire to it. Yeah.
And then you're supposed to inhale.
Oh, I know they used to use that thing to chase mosquitoes away.
That smoke.
That same thing.
That smoke.
I didn't know they were using it.
Think about it. Someone that is asthmatic.
I should be running away from smoke.
Do you understand? I'm like, the day she first said it, I'm like, you know what? God really just loved you people. What did you put to survive? Because what? So many tiny things like that. A lot of alternative medicine that do not have dosage. These days, one of the major issues that pediatrics, if you go to especially a lot of government hospitals, one of the major things, I've spoken to a lot of nurses and a few doctors about this, and they said one of the major issues they're having now is little children with kidney issues. Why? Because there's something wrong with them, and then there's the advent of agbo, and then they give children agbo, which these children do not even have the liver or the kidney to process.
Yeah.
And then you now see kidney failure in children as little as months old.
And another thing, now that you even brought this up, and now that we're talking about this,
because it's not standardized,
before we leave this medical matters here and all, this is an allied discussion. The government, we're calling on the government of Nigeria now to please look at the influx of fake drugs, paste, groceries, virtually everything now is fake in this country. If there's any product that is fast moving, FMCG or how they call it, there is a fake version of it as we speak. I saw 3 different types of fake toothpaste online. I saw the pictures of them. The Milky Teeth brand that we like to buy for kids. Virtually everything out there now is fake. Virtually everything out there. Then the cocoa brands that we like, I was watching a video. That's why I went to the store in the office to go and check the one we had. And I said, oh, we have the right one. And it looks almost the same. You get... this is at pandemic level.
That's also another thing that we really need to work on. So moving on from that quickly, but our thoughts and our prayers are with people that have lost loved ones for this. Is actually not fair at all. Now, talking about the troops quickly, troops are said to have rescued 18 passengers from sea pirates off Cameroon coast. Also, police have arrested 4 bandits and recovered 65 rustled cows in Kaduna State.
Russell, that's another way of just funkifying thieves and criminals and bandits. They will say they rustle the crowd.
Y'all are just
people that should be they should be greeted in a certain way,
Okay, there's news coming from the NDLEA that I think that one is that they arrested an 80-year-old ex-convict uncovering illicit drugs hidden in mannequins. At 80, shouldn't you, at least whatever you have been doing till the age of 80? I'm sorry, but when do you plan to retire?
When they say "day body," this is what they actually mean. Say "day your body." This one is not just it. Like,
when are you planning to retire, really?
But you see,
are you kidding?
Even you with the talk, Seth, now what for you? They said someone is ex-con at 80.
Yeah, he could have come out of prison like 50.
They don't know. They don't tell people who have left prison 30 years after that they are ex-con. If you go and check this story, the guy just graduated last week.
Wow. And
he's going back for his masters now, or maybe a third PhD in criminality. At 80, Uncle Daddy, what's going on here? In fact, at 80, what kind of punishment are they even going to give an 80-year-old?
Do you get at this point?
Nah,
like,
wow.
you're probably
if only that they manage this longevity, then they look say we feel they play them like game.
It's just ridiculous.
This one is going to be useless. So yeah, take what is left and
it is ridiculous.
Give it to someone that's
Whatever
going to be useful.
That you're doing, it is just ridiculous.
Extremely ridiculous.
At what age? Daddy, how many of your mates are even still alive?
Nah, wow for you.
At wow 80. For you, really.
Bros, you know, try.
Anyway,
sorry, Grandpa.
Somebody's great grandpa said. Anyway, moving on from that, something happened with the airlines, and it's pretty much laughable. And this happened in Abuja, where I think I saw the report of Michael Achimugu of the NCAA, where he was breaking that, said he was on his way to get a haircut when he got a phone call that the airport is about to go haywire. And it makes sense. Why? So apparently a plane coming from Saudi Airlines actually, that was supposed to drop people in Kano. They said the bad weather, which also happened to other airlines, they had to stop in Abuja. So first things first, the Abuja airport became really congested because planes that were not supposed to land there decided to land there, and then a lot of airlines, or all the other airlines, now found a way, because I said these planes were going to Kano. So these people now found a way to get these people, I think most of them, on road transport from Abuja to Kano, or find ways for them to go to Kano, or find accommodation for the passengers until they can airlift them and take them to their destination. However, Saudi Airlines decided to drop them in Abuja because of the bad weather and abandoned 401 passengers and turned back and went back. 401. And I was reading
that's the airline. Is it a local airline?
No. And I was reading the man's report that they were about to beat him and he's not the one that dropped.
Isn't it really stupid? Isn't it crazy that
401
an international airline,
401 people at the airport, and they're not going anywhere?
An international airline understands the charter, and you know what to do in that situation, but you now dump them and go.
Literally dumped. That's the word, dumped.
Then you left.
Yeah.
And then you will still come and carry passenger again in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a very hefty fine, because now the cost of taking care of these people will be borne by government,
They were stranded
Mm-hmm.
for close to 48 hours.
Abba.
48 hours.
Now, wow. Well, kudos to the NCA and all the agencies. But by now, those people should have been called out, and, they should be made to reimburse the people's flight tickets, amongst other things. Because I know they always offer you things that you will never use. Airline, where don't dump me, they will come say, they're giving me 30% off my next trip. Which trip?
Which trip? Did I tell you I'm
With
going to
you?
any trip?
With
Who
you?
tell you?
With you?
Give me my money. I'm suing you.
She-
Who says I
are, you,
want?
are you saying that village people say no go laugh? You say, no,
You
be
will
the,
enter
the same
again?
airline where
You
we
want
use
to
deal with
enter
you.
again?
Now you won't go fly.
Anyway, moving on from that, let's do a bit of politics quickly. As going on to 2027, the funny thing is that the way time flies, we're actually already in 2026. So 2027 is really not that far again. But the ADC have a very interesting submission, which is not news because it's not the first time. I think PDP has said something like that before. I think even Labour Party has said. But they are also now reiterating, saying that the APC is engineering the crisis in the PDP, in the NNPP, in Labour Party to ensure no party survives for 2027.
A lot of times when you hear these things, if you do not understand the gimmicks that Nigerian politicians play,
You're looking for an excuse for your incompetence.
you get
That's the way I
sucked.
see
Yeah,
it.
you get sucked into that hole. It's funny how the ADC claims to be a new party that wants to rescue Nigeria, and they are not showing their workings. They'll tell you that they are keeping it under wraps. Okay, now this is 2026. By this time next year will be a few days to the presidential elections.
Yes.
Do you understand? So this is the time. But this game of always blaming a party that is bigger than you, it doesn't work all the time. Oh. Now, what you should be showing us is your national spread and how you intend to stop this thing that you claim they are doing. Because if you don't do it, then that means you are not going to win. And if you don't win, then what's the essence of being in the game? Do you understand? I don't see the ADC. I'm beginning to look at the ADC as a very, very funny party.
Very weak.
You understand?
opposition.
And it hurts that PDP is allowing its internal wranglings, to really tear it apart
I
at
honestly
the
think
seams.
that there are two things for me. Number one, and it's something I've said all the time. Let's even assume that that's what APC is doing. They are opposition. That's the whole point. Everybody is trying to pick issues with everybody, or everybody is trying to diminish everybody's party. That's what they're supposed to do. Why is it that let's even assume that's what the APC is doing. Why are you allowing it? If you can see that that's what they're doing, that is the more reason why you should, you shouldn't allow those things happen. But you're allowing it happen.
If you're at crossroads, finish what you're saying.
So if you're allowing it happen, then it doesn't make any sense. That's number one. Number two, I also feel that is looking for an excuse. Is almost like you're giving an excuse to something that, it's almost like, in 2027, you are at a point where you feel that the APC is still going to win. So let's start giving that excuse now. So we'll give that excuse that, it was what APC did, that's why they won.
If you're
Don't
at
do that.
crossroads as a politician and you understand that in Nigeria, especially for those who want to seek re-election, they need to have a stable party. A party where the chairman and the secretary are on the same page and they can sign your nomination form so that you can contest for your seat again, or for the role that you are, trying to get, the position that you are fighting for. And you look on one hand at a party that you are currently at and it does not exist. You have barely 9 months to go. It doesn't exist there. Then you look at the other party, and one thing that they have going for them, whether you like them, is stability. They're very stable. And that's what the polity needs now. You need that. As a politician, which one do you think the person would go for? That's it. So we're talking pure politics now. We're
Mhm.
not even talking governance.
No.
We're talking politics.
It's politics.
And for me, I keep looking. I like, for instance, how Peter Obi and some politicians from the eastern part of Nigeria, joined the ADC officially at the end of last year. But by now, within now and the next 3 to 4 weeks, you need to hear of a gale of defections to the ADC, and it must include governors. Because, look, someone contested an election, and all three of you were out of government. You were all more or less at par. Tinubu got 8-point-something million votes. Atiku got 6.8 or 6.9. Obi got 6.1 or 6.2. We can approximate it. And all three of you did not have any position in government. Now you have come back 3 or 4 years after. Tinubu is the president. As at the time he was contesting, maybe he had 6 or 7 loyal governors to him. Now, he would have almost 20. Even if his party has more. No, loyal. I'm talking about loyal. It would have almost 20. Loyal. And Atiku, his old machinery is still there. His structure is still there. Obi's major power is obedient movement. And all of that is also hinged on Obi being president. If you look at all of this, people must realize one thing. It's not the Tinubu that you contested against in 2023 that you're contesting against now.
It's not.
And Atiku must be strong enough, to have maintained his structure. The same for Obi, you get. So maybe this merger will work for them eventually. Maybe, you get. But you're also not going to expect that a Tinubu that was not in government that got 8.7 will be in government for 3 to 4 years and get 8.7. Do you understand? So the game has changed, and it's all politics that we're talking about now. And if your parties are unstable,
then it doesn't.
Whose fault is it?
Whose fault is it exactly? Talking about stability and instability, there's been talks of heavy security at the Kano government house ahead of rumored defection of Governor Yusuf.
It's very interesting what's happening in Kano. At times, you don't want to believe the hype, the buzz, but at times it's actually true. The funny thing about Kano is that, Kwankwaso is a national politician. Give it to him. He's big like that. He's the leader of the Kwankwasia movement. Just like Obi has the obedient, he has the Kwankwasia movement, the red cap people. And they went head to head with the ruling APC and defeated them at the gubernatorial elections. Even in the presidential, their numbers were crazy. Kwankwaso got over 1 million votes from Kano alone. If you look at all of this, then look at the relationship with the current governor, who happens to be his son-in-law, Abi.
Yeah.
You start to look like what's going on. Then again, you look at Kano, and the former deputy governor became governor and moved to the APC. That's Ganduje. Ganduje and Kwankwaso were friends, and they worked together. Then Kwankwaso now raised his own son-in-law to defeat Ganduje's candidate. You get? And now his son-in-law has joined Ganduje's party. It's you don't understand.
It's a very
politics at
interesting times.
Yeah, it will, because I'm thinking like maybe it's just a ploy. Maybe Kwankwaso is also going to the APC, but from the look of things, it's not.
It's not. But looks like with that also in mind, Nasarawa Senator Onawo has now also resigned from the PDP, citing personal reasons. However, there's been talks that he is probably moving to the ADC, that he's had a few meetings he has been seeing with the ADC people. So, but we don't know where he's going yet.
That's what we're talking about. I said within the next 3 to 4 weeks, ADC must be able to attract more, seven
yes,
governors, senators, House of Rep members,
House of
Assembly members.
That's where we can see. Quickly before we go, Nigerian singer Portable has now been arrested after an assault complaint from one of his wives or / baby mama. We don't know which one of them. However, there's even a video that has surfaced where it was said to have even been assaulting the policeman that came to arrest him?
I watched a video where he was shouting at the policeman that came through, and he was telling them in his own words, "I'm a celebrity, I'm a star," and those ones are saying, "Are you bigger than the law?" And and he was like, "Our land government. I worked for APC. We own the government, we own the country." He went.
I think he's pretty delusional. I actually
he went
think
off
that
on a tangent.
Is a bit delusional.
And I actually said to myself, it's funny how, out of nowhere, a portable can become a national name known in different parts of Nigeria now for musical, but most times what you hear is not the music.
Well, as
it's
did you
the
hear
noise.
about his music?
You get the guy's music is coming good. He's still dropping stuff. The people who follow him, but that is more known for controversy than for music.
For music, yeah.
And at some point in time, he doesn't understand that these things are not sustainable. You get to a point where people just see through the old antics, because at the end of the day, he would get arrested, he would get bailed, he would go to the studio and drop a song about it.
Can we even talk about the fact that there's so much arrest, and doesn't that also point to someone that is actually very badly behaved?
Yeah, that's it now. I'm saying, what I'm saying also still is that if you are a musician, you say, "Oh, I'm portable, I'm a singer," you should be known more for your music.
For your music than anything
else.
But
it's like every 3 months, every quarter, of 4 or 5 months, there must be one major issue and a run-in with the law.
Let's quickly move away from portable, I beg. Anyway, apparently there's a price war going on as retailers are said to have dropping petrol prices below Dangote's 739 naira per liter. They're saying that in Ogun State, they're saying as low as 725.
We are here for that. We said it before.
As long as it's cheaper.
Yeah, we bought fuel at double this price not long ago.
Yeah.
So if it's down to 720 in some places, it's 739.
We can 500 and something might not be a bad idea.
Yeah,
y'all can
even 400 says anyone that you people do.
Anyone you people
yeah,
want to
please
do,
let the price wars continue and let Nigerians benefit from it. But I just want to chip in that it's not reflecting on the cost of transportation, and it's not reflecting on the cost of goods, because everybody increased their cost because they said transportation had gone up. But since transportation has gone down 50, 80, 70%, it doesn't reflect in the cost of
it. Definitely is not reflecting. So
transportation, especially.
That's another thing that needs to be looked into. Quickly, we're actually almost out of time, but quickly, let's just go through sports. AFCON, of course, AFCON is ongoing. It's something that we definitely talk about. We know that over the weekend, the Super Eagles decided to, show up and show out as well. They're said to have returned to Fez now for the semi-final preparation of that. I think I would say that this is probably the happiest Nigerians have been with the Super Eagles in a very long time.
In decades, actually. These guys have shown us that, it's possible, to do big things from small places, So we're happy with them. We're happy with the way they play, the quality of their game. They're always scoring goals now, and they're even able to keep back-to-back clean sheets and all of that. Sadly, we would be missing out on Ndidi because of the yellow cards. Our goalkeeper is one card away from being suspended also. But if you look at it all, kudos must go to the NFF for bringing the coach, Eric Sekushel, and the approach that the coach has adopted. Because it's not enough to always criticize when you think they are bad. When they are good, you must praise them. Let's talk
about it. Talking about coaches.
I think you have a comment.
Talking about coaches, actually. Bukola Medubi says, so far the field is good, not just the price.
The quality. Yeah, that's one thing that we never talk about.
Yeah, the quality is actually way better as well. Thank you very much for pointing that out. So going back, I saw a post where someone had said, look at the quality of football that is being played now, the teams in the semi-finals, and they're all African coaches.
All of them.
So when you also now look at it now, it's the quality
that's
of
a strong
play,
case for African coaches.
Yeah, African coaches, and it's a good thing. But anyway, still talking about AFCON, CAF is now set to probe misconduct that happened in the quarterfinals. They're talking about misconduct between the Nigeria-Algeria game and the Cameroon and Morocco games. They're saying that there was one that Algeria had already written a petition that they should have gotten a penalty at the first half. Also, CAF is talking about the misconduct that happened at the end of the game and all that, the rancor that happened. Something very similar to happened between the Morocco and Cameroon game. Cameroon is alleging that there was a lot of bias in their game against Morocco because it's home based, and Morocco is the home based team, and the refereeing wasn't great. So CAF is said to be looking into that, and they will see if anybody needs to be sanctioned on those things. But if I'm correct, I think quarterfinals is happening semi-finals happening on Wednesday.
There are 2 games on Wednesday. Yeah. Of course, it's West versus North. If you look at it, 2 teams from the western part of Africa versus 2 teams from the northern part. And it's been like that for a couple of years now. We're hoping to have, an all-West final. Where Nigeria eventually wins.
So we'll see that also Super Eagles striker Victor Boniface is said to have begun rehabilitation after a knee surgery. Our thoughts and our prayers.
It's been through a lot. Yes. I hope he really bounces back. And he's going to be off for close to a year.
Yeah. Also, Barcelona yesterday defeated Madrid for the 4th time now in a row, the Spanish Super Cup.
Someone is going to lose his job very soon, it's obvious. And I feel for him because there's no patience for coaches anymore.
But let's not lie. Real Madrid is not doing as badly. But it's just, Anyway, finally, before we go, looking at the EPL, the Manchester United is said to be really running a very, very close race now, looking for the caretaker role for the manager.
Why sack a coach when you don't have a replacement?
You don't have a replacement. At least Chelsea.
And why replace him with someone that is not better than him?
At least Chelsea is found a replacement in a few days. Now they're still talking. They're saying that between Carrick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, at least till the end of the season. And like you said, even after the abysmal game that they played yesterday, I think that it's not everybody's looking at it, but we'll say maybe it's old glory. But every cup game that they played this season, it's the first game they play. They're out.
United was balling a few weeks ago, and people started taking them serious, and I think they are back to people saying it's old glory. This team was balling.
This is a Brighton that they beat 4-2 in a couple of weeks ago. Now you're back to this, and then you don't even have a stable coach yet, and then their next few games are not going to be easy games. So anyway, we'll see where all that is going to go to. But on that note, that is all we have to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The Boom Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
Peace.